What are some external factors that influence a business? Welcome back, boss. I'm so glad that you are here because if you are an entrepreneur or small business owner, the last few years have felt like non-stop interference and challenges coming from external factors. And all of us are having to figure out how are we going to navigate this and deal with this. So that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. I'm Amy Walker, and I help small business owners and entrepreneurs be able to create consistent, scalable sales through organic marketing and strategic selling. And there's been a lot that's been going on the last couple of years that we are now trying to adapt to. I mean, we survived the pandemic, good job. We are working through the hiring shortages. We're working through the supply chain interruptions. There's a lot of external things that are going on right now, more so than ever before in the about 20 years that I've been an entrepreneur. This is it. We need to understand what these external challenges are and, more importantly, what we're supposed to do about them. So in today's video, I'm going to go over the 6 external factors that can affect your business and explain to you what each one is. But then the most important part is I want to actually talk to you about what we can do to create stability in our business regardless of what's going on around us. I think that's the real reason why you're here. So I've got 6 of those for you, and I'm going to tell you number 6 is definitely worth sticking around for because I feel like if you can nail this principle, you truly can find a way to be successful in any environment. So let's jump in. The first one is political, and we are seeing that so much right now. There are so many political pieces moving throughout the world. We've got conflict in various areas. We've got different political opinions. We have different legislation. I felt like the last couple of years, I was really having to watch more closely than ever before the news and the legislation regarding what was available to small business owners, anything that was changing that I thought could potentially impact my business down the road. Like, we were watching more than I've ever watched before. Second is economic. So this is going to be things like inflation, interest rates. Definitely seeing this one right now. And again, these are things that are beyond our control. So our prices are going to have to go up. And I'm seeing that across the board. Everywhere that I shop, everything that I've been buying, prices are going up. And your customers may not like it, but it doesn't mean that it's your fault that you're raising prices. Things are just costing more. Social is next. And this is like when the will and the mindset of the people and what they want starts to change. This is definitely happening right now. Consumer behavior has changed a lot in the last 3 years. People went from going to the movies to now just paying and having viewing parties with their friends and family at home. People are expecting free shipping and they're okay with it not getting there as fast as it used to, which is like the opposite. You know, we appreciated free shipping, but we expected things to be here on time. So consumer behavior is changing and the social expectations has shifted. So if you're trying to be who you were 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and saying, this is what people have always liked from us, so we're going to keep giving it to them, what they want has changed and we have to adjust with it. Technological is another big one. So the big change that is currently affecting us as marketers is the iOS updates from Apple that are giving consumers more privacy, but as marketers, it's allowing us to be able to pull a lot less data. So we can no longer count on our information on open rates and click-through rates being accurate in our marketing campaigns. We don't have the data anymore, and so we're having to make adjustments because technology is constantly changing. New platforms come up, new technology, new software. Like, we need to be plugged in and knowing what is going on. And a lot of times technology affects us in a positive way, but not always. When Google put in place the quality scores on blogs and websites, that was sure hard for a lot of marketers. So we need to know what changes are happening so that we can effectively work around them and figure out what do we need to change in order to keep our business still working well, in order to keep our marketing on track. The next is environmental. This could be things like droughts in California affecting the winery industry and output in terms of physical production But it could also be things like increased pressure to go green, storms, hurricanes, natural disasters, things like that. We cannot control those, and they do sometimes affect our businesses. The last is competitive, and this is when somebody comes up and basically sets up shop next to you doing the same thing that you do. You could not control that, but you just have to deal with it and figure out, what am I going to do next? Now, all of these factors affect our businesses. They do, and I'm not trying to minimize that, but what I will tell you is that if you are trying to create your sense of peace and security and longevity based on external factors remaining consistent, you're going about it the wrong way, because the reality is there has been a lot of external factors affecting us as small business owners and entrepreneurs, and I don't see that changing. I look at the world and I think it's getting more and more volatile. It's not getting more and more calm and peaceful. So where do we get that sense of calm? Where do we get that sense of security, that sense of peace? That is the real question, and I want to dive into that right now. So what can we do? The number one thing we can do is we can be peaceful and we can be prepared rather than fearful. And that's kind of the overriding principle for the rest of my tips here. I am not in control of the whole universe. In fact, I'm in control of very little in the universe. But one of the things that I am in control of, and this is one of the most important things, is how I feel. I always tell myself and my clients that overwhelm is an emotion, not a situation. Think about it. We've all had moments where we've been in complete chaos and yet we felt calm. And we've all had moments where we felt so overwhelmed, and you look around and you're like, I'm actually physically safe. Nothing is falling apart. No fires actually going on around me. And yet I feel completely overwhelmed. So we don't get to always change. So we don't always get to decide our situation, but we do get to decide how we respond within that situation. The other piece of advice that I'm going to give you that's going to be kind of an overarching, and then we'll go into our specific tips, is that you do need to be willing to adjust and move. People who are very rigid and unwilling to change, I do not think that they are going to be able to last and go the distance in their business. I just don't. I think it is requiring too much change of it. And if you hate change, you're gonna have to start working on this process and embrace it. If you're finding these tips helpful, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you can get notified every time I release new content. And please give a like. You have no idea how much that helps in the algorithms. And YouTube is all about the algorithms. All right, my second tip for you is this is a time to be smart with your spending. That does not mean stop spending. It just means I would spend on things that have a quicker ROI. This wouldn't be a time where I would be making really big decisions where I'm going to put a lot of money out and I'm not going to see whether or not it worked for like the next 10 years. If you're a bigger company, that's a totally different ballgame. But for small business owners, I would be looking at spending on things where you can get that money back in like 6 months, 12 months, shorter term. I also would recommend that you're saving now more than normal because you do need a buffer. I feel like as entrepreneurs, I trust us to figure things out. I really do. We are innovative. We are outside the box thinkers. If you don't know the answer, somebody else does, and you can get the answer on how to fix whatever's broken in your business. 100% believe that. But it doesn't change overnight. So I think you should have in savings more like 3 to 6 months of day-to-day operating expenses. Whereas, a year ago, I might have said you'd be okay with like 1 to 3 months because you're gonna have a bad month here and there. But really, I think you want a bigger buffer right now. Number 3, I would recommend that you diversify your investments so that you don't have all of your money in one place because things are a little bit less stable. So getting diversified gives you a little bit more safety and security. Number 4, this one I am feeling really good about, which is diversifying your sales channels. So if you only have one thing going on for business and that one thing is affected by external challenges or different factors changing, then you're gonna feel like you're up a creek without a paddle. So I have a client right now that does real estate staging. Well, what's going on in the US right now? real estate is in very, very, very low demand. There is not enough on the market, partially because supply chains were interrupted and there's not enough new construction, partially because interest rates were so low that everybody was moving on things, and partially because I think people are not wanting to move when they feel like they don't know what's coming next. So she is struggling, not because she's not great at what she does. She's great at what she does, but because houses are selling so fast that nobody needs to fix them up. Nobody needs to stage them. They literally list it, and within a couple of days, they have a bunch of offers over asking price. So when you have one offer, that can be really challenging. So as we talked about this, I was like, okay, we can continue to try more things to market, and you are gonna get some more things coming in, especially like really high-end properties or hard to sell properties that might stay on the market for a while. But where has the opportunity moved to? And I would suggest the opportunity has moved to Airbnbs. During the pandemic, a lot of us canceled our bigger trips and we started traveling a lot more locally. So Airbnbs have gone up and people are able to charge more for their Airbnbs, but they're also trying to distinguish their Airbnbs. So this is a great time for her to find another market, another sales channel, and be able to create income that's maybe just a little bit easier to find right now. I have a client right now who does staging for real estate. She's really, really good at what she does. But currently, there is really high demand for houses and really low supply of houses available in her area. So nobody really is needing to stage because every time they put a house on the market, within days, they have multiple offers. She can continue to market and try to find those hard to sell, really expensive properties and do what she can to stage there, or she can look and say, I need another sales channel, something else that I can do. So we've been looking at other options. If you take that same skill set of staging, she could do home remodel design, right? Because she has the eye, she has the design background. So there are a lot of people staying in their houses doing remodel projects. That's another potential. There's also a lot of people doing Airbnbs and making money and wanting to build that as a side revenue. So that could be another option that she could help with the staging of the Airbnbs. So when you have multiple sales channels, you don't have all your eggs in one basket. And if one thing is starting to dip, you can just turn up the volume on some others. Tip number 5, be willing to adjust instead of lamenting what was. You guys, there are so many things about my early years in business that I love. I love that I was one of the few people doing online events and I could get easily 1,000 to 2,000 registrations for an online conference without spending a dime on marketing. Would I love to go back to that? Yes, I would. Am I sitting here crying in my Cocoa Puffs because that's no longer the case? No, I am not. So when things change, it's okay. We just need to be willing to move forward and let go of the way that it was in the glory years. My last tip for you, I told you was going to be the most important one, and I really think if you can grasp this and embrace this, this is a success principle right here that will take you really far in life. It's the understanding that opportunity is always present and always moving. So where is the opportunity right now? When COVID very first hit, I had a couple of really big contracts and I was just doing a little bit of individual business work. And I lost my biggest contract right at the beginning. And I remember looking at it being like, okay, so that's gone. Where is my best opportunity to help? Where's my best opportunity to serve? And what I realized was there were a lot of businesses that had not been playing in the online space that now all of a sudden really needed to. And so that was my opportunity. The business that I had been working with, not there. And the next opportunity was all of the businesses that needed to transition and needed to figure out how to get online and get online really fast. So there is always opportunity. And I don't want you to buy the lie that the opportunity is gone and now you just have to struggle through something not working. I promise you it's there. Sometimes you can't see it because sometimes you're a little bit too close to it. But I promise you, I can always find that opportunity for people. So if external factors have negatively impacted your sales and marketing, I want you to go ahead and download my Ultimate Marketing Calendar. It is going to help you understand how many leads you need to have in order to hit your sales goal. It's going to help you plan out what you're going to be doing for marketing and track your ROI. It is an awesome tool, and it also comes with some training from me on teaching you how to use it. So now that you know what are some external factors that influence a business, the next video I want you to watch is how to fire an employee gracefully, tips for entrepreneurs. Thanks for watching, boss. I can't wait to see you in the next one.